I've spent the past few months after the release of Desert Treasure 2 working on acquiring the uniques from the 4 new bosses. I mostly wanted the new rings, but I was surprised by the other drops I got along the way.
Nice! Virtus Mask!
Additionally, I was motivated to interact with all the new bosses when I started to get the Soulreaper axe pieces.
That's a neat one! I was not expecting that.
Yes! Oh, yes! Yes! Oh my goodness. Yes!
We're done at the Duke.
Yes! Yes, we got it! We got it! Oh my god. We got it. The Soulreaper axe is a unique item in more ways than one. First, the axe has a few special mechanics which may be getting buffed in the future, since Jagex has stated that it is, quote, a little too frustrating to feel good using. Currently, the axe deals damage to the user while also buffing its damage in exchange. Every time you attack with it, you are dealt 8 damage and gain 6% strength level up to a max of 5 soul stacks, or 30% increased strength. Once at 5 soul stacks, the axe will stop damaging the player. The special attack of the Soulreaper axe deals increased damage and restores 40 HP, restoring the health sacrificed to bring the axe to full power. Additionally, the soul stacks are a separate spec to the normal special attack bar, allowing players to dump their soul stacks and use another spec immediately afterward. The trade-off of HP for damage brings something that I really appreciate to the game: earning your reward. Instead of the standard flat DPS that most other weapons offer, the Soulreaper axe demands more attention and consideration in its use. Mindlessly smacking a target with the axe will punish the player, but it rewards more involved gameplay. This more involved gameplay is not limited to the axe itself, but to the acquisition of the axe as well. None of the axe pieces are tradable on their own, so you need to earn each piece from all 4 bosses and combine them if you want to use or sell the axe. This forces players who want to earn, use, or sell the axe themselves to interact with and learn the mechanics of all the Desert Treasure 2 bosses. In a previous video, I talked about why I think this design is good, but I also want to focus on using the most expensive piece of gear that I ever owned in RuneScape to see if it is really worth the effort to acquire. The first and most obvious use for the Soulreaper axe is probably at Vardorvis, where I managed to get a 59-second personal best kill.
Nice. That's a personal best.
I think the most obvious place after Vardorvis to use the Soulreaper axe is at Nightmare Zone, because you just get so much more accuracy with Bandos and the axe over something like Darox. I'm not sure if it is going to be better. I'm going to throw it on for about half an hour to see what kind of XP rates we're getting. Although the axe does have like a level 80 requirement to use, so it might not be the best for early training. But for just grinding out some 99s, it might be alright. I'm already 99 combat, so this won't really matter to me, but it is a good test to see sort of what kind of XP rates you can expect. Now the thing I'm worried about is your Soulreaper axe is going to take 40 damage from you, and then the overload is also going to take 50? So I think I need to get the soul stacks up to 5 before I sip on the overload, just to be sure. Alright, we just finished up at Nightmare Zone, and if you look over here, we were getting about 150k XP an hour, which is not too bad, especially for something as AFK as Nightmare Zone. I obviously wasn't doing it for points, but the points aren't bad. They're a nice reward, especially if you're just going for XP. Another nice thing about the new rings in the Desert Treasure 2 bosses is you don't need to imbue the new rings. So I've actually had this problem for a while, where I want to get all of the Slayer helmets. I have a lot of them unlocked, but not all of them. But the refunded Nightmare Zone points that you get from, you know, upgrading your ring from like an archer's to the new best in slot, actually pays for a lot of the imbues on the Slayer helms. I don't need to imbue them all, but it's just Fashionscape, so that's something that I've been working on post-99 Slayer. But if you do have the Soulreaper axe and you want to go to Nightmare Zone, I don't think it's too bad of an option. So this one's probably pretty stupid, but I want to see how the axe does at Calcite Queen. It does have a crush option, which Calcite Queen is weak to. However, the second phase where Calcite Queen becomes very hard to hit with melee is probably going to give us some trouble. I just want to check and see what it's like in the first phase. Now the problem with Calcite Queen is it does shit tons of damage. So that's going to be very hard to balance with the Soulreaper axe damage as well. Okay, I think we step under here, take a bite, and keep it going. We're not doing too bad at the moment. When it hits, it hits. I mean, but we're gonna lose a lot of soul stacks here. This could be an issue. Yeah, we're back down to 3. We're not hitting often, but when we do hit, it's pretty big. Okay, we are getting pummeled here. Can we finish it off with a big spec? No, we can't. Don't know what I was thinking there. Getting dangerously low on HP. And we went through like a whole inventory of food just from this fight. Come on, hit. There we go. That was rough. I do not recommend using this at Calcite Queen. Let's go ahead and give Duke Suck a chance to impress us with the Soulreaper axe. I'm actually quite happy that I got the ring and the axe piece pretty early because this Herblore section of the boss is not fun. I think that's a pretty uncontroversial opinion, but this part is pretty slow and not the most engaging. Now, what I'm worried about is keeping the soul stacks up while we are doing the dare attack. There's a weird, like, delay I'm seeing with the animation. Ooh, that was bad. I might be dead here. Nope. Okay, we're fine. Okay, we're doing some pretty good hits now. Now we're in the rhythm of it. I think we're gonna have to do a hit as we run across if we want to keep our soul stacks up. I know the Fang's getting nerfed, but the Fang on Slash is way more consistent, and you're not taking as much damage. You're gonna have way longer trips. This feels like nice to use for the big hits, but the damage you take is not worth it, especially since there's parts of the fights where you just have to lose a soul stack. Yeah, I don't think it's the best at Duke. Definitely not. I'm really struggling to think of other places where the Soulreaper axe could be good. I thought about God Wars, but you take way too much damage from the minions there. It is not worth it. You would be eating way too much. Maybe Cerberus, but I'm too lazy to get a Slayer task for that. Same thing with Abyssal Sire. I'm not trying it there. I know at raids it showed a little bit of promise at first, but the damage you take and the uptime, like if you're attacking at Bloat, there's just so much time at Bloat where you're not dealing damage. You're gonna lose all your soul stacks. Hydra, just because the Hydra walked next to me, but Hydra, the Lance is definitely just gonna outcompete it, and even after the Lance, the Blowpipe is still better. So I'm not quite sure exactly where it would be great. I mean, I'm excited for the buff to it because it might open up some more options. For the price and for the difficulty that it takes to get the Soulreaper axe right now, it's not really useful at a lot of places. At least it's not it doesn't feel good to use at a lot of places, is the conclusion I've come to. I'm still going to hold on to it because it feels great to have got it myself and earned the whole thing all on my own. I got really spooned on probably all of the drops for the Soulreaper axe. I got lucky on all the components, but even still, it took me a long time to get. And I really want to just hold on to it because it feels great to have something that you earned yourself. And that's something that I see we're moving more towards, sort of forcing main accounts to Iron Man their own gear if they want to sell it. It started with like Hydra with the Brimstone Ring, where you needed to get all 3 parts before you could sell it. But with the Soulreaper axe, it's even harder than that because you have to go to different bosses and do different mechanics with different gear setups. It just feels like a great design to force players, even if they don't want to, which I did want to. I did want to interact with all the bosses, but even if you don't want to interact with all the bosses, when you get a piece of the Soulreaper axe, it really encourages you to try the other pieces of content, which I think is a really good idea. I'm really looking forward to the rebalance of a lot of weapons, even the rebalance to like enemy defenses, because I feel like there's a couple of items that have really shown that they are the meta for pretty much everything, and I'm excited to see how having specific defenses, like maybe a heavy ballista will be better at something with really high defense, maybe the blowpipe will still be good at things with low defense. I'm excited to see the rebalance that happens. I know it's probably going to upset some people, but I think it'll all work out for the best in the end. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, feel free to subscribe and like. Check out my other content if you're interested. And, as always, have a wonderful rest of your day.